anybody's in there. Should be here any minute then. In the cruiser, I'm sure he'll zoom in.
Being out there, Bob. Yeah, I was supposed to be. Early too. Yeah. All right, they'll be in here in just a second. You come in. Yeah. Yeah, it's. Oh, yeah. Hello, sir.
Hi, iPhone. Interesting.
Hey, Becky.
Howdy.
Hey, okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Stephen.
I received an email sometime, I think this afternoon, from Anna. She's camping in the Maine woods.
And
Sounds
she was surprised she had cell service to send the message.
Right.
Steve
So we
texted
all-
me. I'm sorry,
ahead.
Steve texted me. I will be there in a few minutes at
Oh, good.
5:29. I guess he's tired of me texting him.
He preempted you.
Yes, he
Oh.
did.
Jeff and I saw him up at the school today, and he was made aware that there was a meeting tonight.
Good, good, good. Yeah, I've been working from home because my husband has COVID. So I just came back in tonight because hardly anybody here right now.
How's he doing?
What?
He's getting, he's been feeling pretty miserable, but he's not too bad. I think, he got on the Paxlovid pretty quickly.
Uh-huh.
That really helps.
Good.
How many days do you have to hide with him?
Quarantine?
Quarantine, yes.
Well, I kept testing. I'm tomorrow might be the last day. I'm hoping. But I've tested negatively this morning, but I think Friday will be the real test, tomorrow or Friday. It's hard to tell, because these things happen without
Yeah.
real timetables, but
Has he had a fever?
he did at first, but that went away after the Paxlovid, which was helpful. Bad headaches.
Well, it's 5:32. We have a quorum. I'll open the meeting. Jeff, have you had a chance to look at the minutes?
Yeah, but since I wasn't the last meeting,
Well, that's right.
didn't matter.
Okay. I looked through them.
I saw
Well,
some changes, yep.
yeah, I made a few changes. Well, do I hear a motion to accept the minutes from last meeting on the August
I'll make,
7th?
I'll make a motion. We accept the meeting minutes revised.
Can you second that, Jeff, even though you weren't there?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Can
You
I?
can even vote for them, I've learned recently.
Okay,
Yeah,
Who
Okay.
knew?
Well, all right, even though I wasn't there, I'll second them.
okay. So roll call vote. McGinn,
aye.
Quackenbush,
All right, I guess.
Dalmas, aye. Thank you. Okay, I see Henry Geddes is here. Hi, Henry.
Hi, Henry.
No, no.
Oh,
So there's one more building committee member who should be here in a few minutes. But several weeks ago, maybe more than that, maybe a month or so ago, Bert Fernandez from the Historic Commission sent to me the plans, elevations, and material list for this project proposal, for the gazebo to go over the signboard when it's returned. And those I sent out to everyone on our committee, so everyone's had an opportunity to take a look at them. So I don't know if you expect Bert to be here as well, Henry?
Was expecting Bert, and I think he had a bit of a problem getting on.
Okay.
Just didn't see the link for a minute there, and should come on in a minute. Yeah. Let me just. Yeah, Bert is coming right on. These the Russ Greco is there are issues with getting
Oh.
him here.
Bert is calling me. Hang on. Hi, Bert. Hi there. Yes? Uh-huh. I don't know. I'm not the savvy person that area, so I would say try it again. I know sometimes it seems like there's a very long pause before it will open up. So I'd suggest that you try again. Okay, sure, bye.
Hi, Steven.
Hi, Bert.
So I am,
Call Russ Greco.
I'm gonna call Ross again, so I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting, Jeff, you want to give an update on the painting project at the school?
Painting project, as far as the contractors, is done. And today, Stephen and I painted all the exterior doors, 2
Great.
coats. Tomorrow morning, we're going to go back to the school and remove the blue tape that was put on around door handles, things like that. So Dan, so tomorrow, everything should be done.
Except for the
Wonderful.
sheds.
That's a
Correct.
different subject.
That was not part of Jeff and my contract.
Uh,
Okay, and then Becky, if I remember correctly, you
I
have some good news for the dam keeper shed.
Oh, yes, the dam keeper shed is good to go. Concom is signed off. So when you talk to Russ, if there are any, I have a volunteer waiver for Russ. But if he has other people on his crew, I need them to come stop by my office and sign a waiver.
Okay. And you said that the town has a account at Tractor Supply,
Amherst Farmers Supply
Amherst Farmer Supply.
in Amherst.
Okay.
I think Bert is here.
But he was trying, the one more member here,
Oh,
Russ
here.
Greco, is trying to get on.
No, take yourself off of.
I am.
You good?
Think we're good now, Stephen.
Okay. So Russ can hear us? Oh,
Russ
here
is-
it is.
There
Okay,
he is.
okay. Well, I will turn the floor over to the Historic Commission.
Okay. So I have here with me Ross Greco, who is a carpenter with many years' experience, and I think Henry's here too. Henry Geddes, who is our chairman. So we're here because we would like to build a gazebo for the directional guide board. The Historical Commission, as you probably know, is in the process of having the town guide board renovated. This guide board is a cornerstone historic feature of our town common. And although it has survived for almost 200 years without a cover, the guide board has had to undergo many renovations throughout the years and was found to be in very poor condition at this time. Each time it has to be renovated, a little bit of the original is lost. And because of its historical value, the repairs needed to be done following guidelines from the Massachusetts Historical Commission. In doing that, trying to preserve as much of the original structure as possible. After requesting bids from several places, the Historical Commission decided to go with the Williamstown Art Conservation Center. The repairs are expected to cost over $20,000. And given the expense of restoration, we decided it would be best to construct a gazebo to preserve the guide board and hopefully avoid having to face another costly restoration in 10 to 15 years. The gazebo would be constructed with volunteer labor, and we estimate that materials would cost about $5,000 and are applying for CPA funds. The the guidelines that we followed in the in the design were to protect it from weather with eaves low enough to provide maximum protection while providing full visibility of the guide board. B, minimize obstructing view from traffic meetings at the intersection. C, place gazebo in such a way that it doesn't interfere with adjacent monuments. D, relatively simple structure that does not take attention away from the guide board while architecturally blending with the surrounding buildings. And E, minimize maintenance requirements by using durable materials. Following these guidelines, volunteer architect Duran Fernandez O'Brien drew a plan with feedback from Russ Greco, who has over 40 years experience in construction and who is also donating his services. Other volunteers for the construction at this time include Glenn Stockton and myself. The main, we're planning on constructing this pretty solid. And I think if you want to, we can put up the plans on the screen now, but it would have to be Henry who does it because I can't do it on my computer.
Okay, let me make Henry co-host so he can put up the,
I might add, as I go for that, I might add that the contractor who is rehabilitating the guide board did recommend that we have a cover for it. That would be an ideal way to preserve it from the elements.
Becky, did you make me co-host by accident, not Henry?
no, I made you both.
Oh, okay. It just popped up, thank
I
you.
just figured I might crash later after he leaves, so.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
Bert, I've got two documents. One is the diagrams of the gazebo, and the other is the layout.
Yeah, would you do the terrain first?
Right. Okay.
The terrain just to show.
Should be up there.
Yeah, this is just to show that it will be moved back about 6 feet. So it would be pretty close to where it was before, but in order to put the gazebo there, we didn't want to impinge upon the adjacent structures that are in the common right now. You can go over to the other one now.
Scroll down, maybe.
Scroll down. Yeah, but that's just tells you the same thing. So if you can go to the architectural plan.
Got it.
And I can
There we go. Hold on.
yeah, that's good.
Okay.
So we're planning on using 6x6 Douglas fir posts that would be stained. We're planning on using asphalt shingles on the hip roof, concrete post base, and TVG Douglas fir roof sheeting that would also be stained, and premium pine for all the other parts of the structure. If you have any questions about the particular construction, I'm going to rely on Russ to help me with that.
Can we see an elevation, please?
I'm sorry?
Can we see an elevation of the structure?
Can you move that, Henry?
From the side?
Yeah.
Can you
move
show
down
the
there.
other views? Yeah.
There we go.
So one of the things that struck me is that came off is you made a statement that you wanted to be visible. However, it's very low, and it looks like to me the structure is crushing the thing you're trying to protect. I'm wondering, why is it so low?
Well, we talked about that, but in the opinion of the architect, you would have to, unless you were 7 feet tall, you're gonna be able to see it from almost anywhere. where
I
you're
don't believe
walking
it.
towards it.
I disagree.
You disagree? You see that in that figure there, it shows a person and it shows how the view would be from there.
Yeah, I know, I can see that. And that's what's driving my question, because I find the proportions a little squishy. And I'm kind of wondering what your theory was.
Well,
all.
it's just that trying to provide the most protection possible. But we talked about that too, and if we have to put it up a few more, another half a foot or something, we don't have a problem with that.
Hmm.
Ross, we had talked about that, right?
Yeah.
And one thing Anna Cook, who's not here, mentioned about the 2-inch wide dug for ship's knee brackets. ADA, I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, the architectural gurus on the screens have to be, you can't have anything impending for people walking around that they would hit, normally. So they're lower than 6 feet.
True.
So she had some concerns on one of your drawings. I don't know if it's the same thing, if you just put or this is a different from the beginning, but they stick out into the walk area. So by raising it another foot up, it would take it out of that probably.
Okay.
So a question that I have is, so your knee brackets are to say provide a certain amount of structural support, correct? And the question is, were they designed to accommodate some of the windy days we get at the top of the hill there? I mean, how was that taken into consideration?
Well, it obviously helps a little bit. The profile on those brackets is very gradual. So for one, that helps take the headroom issue a little bit out of play. Although we may decide to raise up the structure. But yeah, angle brackets do add support, and you have to be concerned about high winds, especially with violent weather conditions like we're getting nowadays.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't cut them out. I'd leave them in. But it is a gradual profile, so it only adds a little bit of stability. And I think the gradual profile was drawn in by Duran because he wanted to take the headroom issue out of play a little bit. It does, according to him, match some detail on the present library too. So that was part of his thinking. I'm speaking for him, but that's what I assume.
No, I think that's correct.
So another question, are there any other signboards anywhere that you know of that have put some kind of gazebo or other structure over them?
Not that I know of. I also don't know what kind of renovations they have done. But the way we see it, this is more of this doesn't really have a lot of practical value anymore. The value is historical. And so based on what we had to spend, their recommendation was either to put it in a gazebo or put it indoors somewhere. I mean, based on the value of the piece, but also for us with what we had to spend.
So I'll call it the roof sections of the signboard. What material is being used on those two sections?
The roof section of the signboard.
Yeah, you have sort of a center, I'll say, almost like a cupola with a roof on it. And then you have a lower section where there are 4 sections of hip, if you will, running around that, which are all shedding water. And I was wondering what that material is in the renovation.
You mean the roof fascia?
Well, the roof of the signboard,
Oh, the roof of the signboard.
right?
It's copper, isn't it? Bert, do you know?
The
I don't
roof of the
remember.
signboard, that's still being worked on as to what they're gonna make it of. That part has not been fully determined yet, because it had some lead in it, and it's not really something that was there originally. So basically, they're working on the whole rest of the structure, and then they're going to work on the top, and then we will have to make some decisions about that.
The old roof also had some cedar shake around it.
Yes.
I've got a picture from Google Maps. My only question is the high velocity of wind at the peak of Shutesbury. Is asphalt shingle a good? I mean, you'd have to get at least a 30, 40-year shingle, but it's a low pitched roof, 12.5, and shingles tend to blow off. That was my only question. Why wouldn't you go with a historical shake look?
There were practical considerations, a little bit of cost involved.
Mhm.
You know, if you nail them, double nail the shingles based on hurricane code, which they have down in the south, it holds up pretty well, asphalt shingles. And you know, you can always have the same problem with wood shingles too.
Yep.
I think for me, wood shingles, I was the one who suggested going with asphalt. Less maintenance. Yeah, the wood shingles can last longer, but you have to maintain them. The asphalt, you nail it down, that's it. You can put ice and water barrier down underneath it, so even if they blow off, water doesn't get into the structure. So I wasn't concerned about that. That's
Well,
about all I have to
here's
say
my
about
opinion.
that.
I'm not objecting to a building. It just, the proportions on this one just, it doesn't feel good to me. It feels like it's not big enough, but at the same time, I don't want something too big. So I'm a little torn with this thing. And I kind of wish we had a rendering. To see what it would look like on the site, but at the moment it's again, as an architect, I'm not getting warm and fuzzies with it.
I think one of our considerations, one of our concerns was the scale of it.
Yeah.
If it was too big, it might overpower what it was trying to protect. So we wanted to minimize it.
Yeah,
And
I think
keep
maybe we
keep the
minimized a little
cost
bit.
down a little bit too.
Yeah, I think it needs some work, to be honest with you.
Becky, you have a question?
I was just trying to figure out, you have the figure here at 6 feet tall. I don't recall the guide, is the guide board over 6 feet tall?
The guide board is, I can tell you.
Because from here it appears to be 7 feet tall.
But you also, while you're looking something up, What drove the 6-foot dimension from this existing location?
What drove it?
Yeah, why is it 6 feet away as opposed to 10 feet away or something? I mean, why? I mean, there must have been a reason.
Yes, the idea is that the foot of the gazebo would be right at the right next to the other structures that are there. There's another monument there of some sort.
Yeah, can you go back to the plan? The site plan?
Uh,
So I'm kind of scrolling up, I think.
second. Let me- this one?
No, where you had the roads and you showed, it
The
Right.
green one.
was like
Yeah,
the very
green.
first drawing.
Exactly. Hold on a second. Uh, to do this over again. Take a sec.
Whoop. So is everything in green the property that the town owns?
That's the town common.
Yes.
It's the common, but it's not the whole common. It's just the corner.
I'm kind of wondering, could it be moved? Let's see, which way is north? North would be up, I guess, on this drawing, right?
Mhm.
I'm kind of wondering if it could be moved a little bit more north and to the east. And basically what I wanted to do is try to make a cluster out of those three elements that are there. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that's why I was asking what drove the 6-foot dimension.
So the two items that are on the site, the one that is closest to the previous location, is that a memorial to military?
I think it's that's the World War I, maybe?
Okay, and then the three-part that's a little farther away.
That has Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan.
And they look like they address Wendell Road.
And there's gardens in between the three boards there that come out.
Yep.
So approximately what's the distance from Leverett Road to the structure?
You want me to go measure it?
I don't know if you can measure it on, I mean, is this the scale?
Henry, can you move that up a little?
I was thinking of going outside.
Well, there you go,
Common.
Oh, there you go.
8 feet,
Problem is, I can't read
16
that.
feet.
So what's it, about 16 feet?
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's
Looks more
15
like
to
25 to the Lever Road side.
24, yeah.
Yeah, it's 20 to 25 feet from the road, the flower bed.
And then you've got this structure
fine.
here, I guess, depending on how tall this is, it may interfere with whoever comes around Wendell Road. May interfere with.
It's an old granite grinding stone, so it's about 4 feet, and part of it's in the ground.
Well, I think I would prefer to be further back, to be honest with you, further north. Yeah, make a cluster out of those three elements.
Yeah, if you go look on Google Maps and do a street view, I see what you're saying, Stephen. I can share that with you if you'd like.
But the idea also is that it be seen from both roads.
Exactly. People
To
come-
move it north.
Well, I think it's going to be seen from both roads. Right now, I think it's a little bit too prominent. I'm just giving you my opinion. Because that does not look like 20 feet to me, if that's 8 feet. But maybe it is.
I think it is.
Yeah, maybe it is. Well, that's all I got to say. Do with it what you want.
The guideboard board is 82 inches tall.
So 6'10".
Yes.
Is why the gazebo needs to be taller.
What, Marty? I didn't hear you.
The gazebo does need to be taller. It's the horizontal member is way too close to the top line of the gazebo of the signboard. Visually, it doesn't look good.
We could raise it up
Just-
3 or 4 inches. I have no problem with that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go up much higher than that though, or any
it doesn't
higher.
need to be much. It just needs a little separation that doesn't exist right now.
Yeah. If you make it too high, then it's gonna look weird too.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are we going? Stephen, I've given my opinions or my questions. I think it needs to be
Can I ask
raised.
another question?
I
Yes.
think it ought to be moved back a little bit.
Just about your thinking, are you, so clearly this will not be protected from snow. We get high winds and snow drifts on the common. So the only protection you really get is from, I guess
Rain.
rain or snow if it comes straight down, which normally doesn't happen on the common. So I guess I'm just wondering what did you guys assume this roof will protect it from?
Yeah, I think it's a compromise. Because that's why we were trying to make it as slow as possible, but still provide the most protection. But it's obviously not foolproof, but we still feel that it should be outside and that it shouldn't be enclosed. So it will be protected somewhat. I mean, I don't think it will deteriorate as fast as it has in the past, but it is a compromise.
Okay.
I think, I've had, say, troubles with the idea of putting a structure over the signboard. The signboard is obviously a historical element, and seeing other signboards around, I've never seen one that has protection over it. I understand the rationale for trying to protect it so that it preserves it, reduces deterioration, but as a element, I have trouble with the idea of putting a gazebo over it.
I in part agree with you. I don't think it's a matter of cost. I think maintenance wise, either way, it's not a big difference, although, I do think given the money that's being invested in restoring this thing, that it's best not to keep it out in the direct weather and in the sun, not only rain and snow, but direct contact with rain and snow, but also the sun. I wouldn't be against putting it inside. I don't have a horse in this race. It's not for me to decide.
Yeah, indeed, the contractor actually offered that option, putting it in a building somewhere. it, it, or having it at least somewhat protected outside.
I think in terms of minimal protection, this plan offers a way forward. The question is whether you want to follow that plan or you want to move it inside. But I think all things considered, the plan, I wouldn't make the gazebo much bigger. I just think it overpowers the site. And I think this is adequate protection. Just getting out of direct contact with the elements keeps the cost down.
Have you looked at, I don't think this is gonna fly, but I'll throw it up anyways. I just came back from Quebec, and at their some of their historic sites, they've enclosed them in clear glass so that you can still see the item inside, but it isn't it isn't taking away so much from the actual item itself. So have you looked at maybe other options to do what you're trying to do here besides this kind of a structure? And I'm not necessarily saying the glass is necessarily the answer, but have you looked at other options?
Well, the other option would be some kind of plexiglass. I don't know if you want to have actual glass in an outdoor situation like that.
Well, I'm just giving that as an example. I'm just asking, have you guys investigated any other options? That's all. Like done any
Did come up in
research on how other historical items, especially those that are outside, have been dealt with and to protect them. That's all. Before we go building a structure like this.
Well, if you enclose it in glass, you still need a roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you in fact, you're probably adding to the complexity of the structure. You realize that, I'm sure. I don't think I would enclose it.
Okay.
And I would keep it open partially to the elements so people can walk up and get close to it. I think in terms of glass, it's just another material to fail, another additional cost in the building. And I don't know, actually, I don't think should be completely sealed, just because I think you want it to be ventilated. So there's that to deal with also. As far as the whole process goes, Bert would have to speak on that. I was just brought in after the concept was developed and designed.
Right. And again, I only use glass as an example. As I'm basically asking, has anybody done research and looked at other means? That's all.
I don't recall discussing anything other than not wanting to put plexiglass around it and not and favoring having it in this kind of structure as opposed to indoors.
Yeah.
But I don't recall having any more.
Okay. It was worth it. It was worth a question. They're gonna move you guys. All right. All right.
If I might say something.
Go ahead.
3 walls of tempered glass set in a concrete curbing would be damn near permanent. And a lightweight roof on top of that could be supported strictly by the glass walls. And it would offer far more protection. Just have the lee side open and people could walk around it. And
I love a visual. And that would be a lot smaller too.
Yeah, that's another thing I was thinking about. It wouldn't be so monumental. So I guess I would ask, I mean, I know I don't get to make the only decision, but I would ask, look at maybe some other options.
Did you take any pictures, Jeff,
No,
while you
of
were up in
course not.
Quebec City?
No, I don't take pictures.
That's what cell phones are for.
Yeah, there's that main hotel in Quebec, by the river. I think they
Frontenac,
call it the Chateau.
Chateau Frontenac.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful place.
And there's a boardwalk behind it, and they've got these glass structures, which brought me to my mind on this, that open down into this historical structures below, and was really neat. And it just drew people to that because they looked at the shape of the glass and they said, there's got to be something over there that's really interesting. And I just saw lots of people just beehive, they were walking down the boardwalk and all of a sudden they just do a turn and head over to that structure just to see what's going on there. And it might be an idea that you may want to pursue a little bit. And I'm not saying glass is the answer, but there could be something else.
Well, when you were talking about the glass, which I think is definitely an idea worth considering, I was also thinking of, okay, so what would be, say, a structural, let's say the glass was attached to a structure. If you went with steel, dimensionally, you could have much smaller structural elements, which might also be something to consider. But I think
Or you
the
could do
idea of the
wooden
glass, pardon?
Or you could do wooden glass, or steel. Yeah.
I like the idea of, say, minimizing the gazebo so that the signboard is really the element that you want to look at or celebrate.
I see what you're talking about, Jeff. On Google Maps, I see the historical glass things. They look very minimalized and you look down into them and all that.
Yeah.
Could you share that, Frank?
Yeah, I'll just do that real quick.
My wife and I were in Quebec last summer and then a second time. And I remember exactly what Jeff is talking about. You definitely go over to take a look.
Yeah.
I guess my concern with that it would be that in keeping in. Did I just get? Am I still in?
Yeah, you're still in.
In keeping with the feeling for the town common, I see a wooden structure as being more fitting better than a glass structure. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
One thing to consider, you can attach your own amount of importance to it, is the construction of it. If you get into a glass structure, you're probably dealing with a private specialized contractor instead of volunteer help. You know, we have enough expertise amongst the volunteers for this project to put up the design that's been proposed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get into a glass structure, you're going to have to deal with some professionals, specialized professionals.
Yep.
That
Yep.
would be out of our hands.
Well, I guess I'm kind of going back to Stephen's statement. I'm concerned that what you've designed is becoming more important than what's inside what you've designed. And I guess I would prefer something that more minimizes the enclosure and emphasizes the contents. And how you guys want to get there, whatever you want to propose. That's my concern.
Bert,
Yep.
got any reaction to that?
I thought that was what we were trying to do, but I'm not sure where to go from here.
Well, may I just suggest one thing, that at least I guess you're representing the Historic Commission, right?
Henry's here too.
Okay. Maybe you should consider just looking at some of the designs that Jeff is talking about. To just take it one step further. It's always good to reevaluate where you're at any point in something like this. I mean, if you haven't looked at it before, maybe you might want to.
Yeah, maybe there's something else out there that is not a glass structure.
Yeah. Again, I just threw glass out. I'm not saying glass. Everybody keeps saying glass back at me. I'm just saying do a little
Well, that's
research.
what makes it attractive, is the glass, I think, is from what I gathered from what several of you said. And I could understand that. But it would be easy enough to research it and come up with a few options
And costs attached.
and cost. I think that
Costs.
that might be a little more difficult, but that's also possible to see if there's a big difference in the cost. Because remember, the design that's drawn would be done all pretty much except for maybe the cost of the backhoe with volunteer labor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the idea was to apply for the community preservation funding, um, which designates funds for these particular purposes. Um, I mean, we could go back and see what the options might be, what levels of skill and cost might be attached to them. I mean, I like the idea that, you know, if it could be somehow encased in some transparent form. We are at the same time dealing with deadlines for applying for those community preservation funds. So um, there's going to be a out of cycle opportunity to apply for those funds um, in order to get them at a critical moment when we get the signboard back from the contractor, which could be next spring sometime, I believe. Is that correct, Bert?
Yes.
So if we miss the cycle, the special meeting of the community preservation committee, which is happening fairly soon, we may have to hold off for the next round of applications, which would put us into, well, it would put us into 2025, well into 2025, maybe even 2026. So we'd have to deal with the signpost in terms of where to place it, et cetera. But that was another concern of ours, is getting the kind of funding.
Yep. Well, I guess that's a decision you guys are gonna have to make on how you want to go forward. Again, I don't think, we're not the approval group, I don't think here. We're just giving opinions. You could blow me up, you can blow us off if you want.
That would be good to have your support. So
Yeah,
we can get back to the drawing board and consider a few other things.
I guess at the moment I'm saying I'm not 100% supporting what I've seen.
Okie doke.
I'll leave it up to the other members to voice
You
their
know,
opinion.
it's interesting looking at the photo that Frank has up. You see this signboard, and then you see these two memorials. When I look at it, it doesn't look, well, the signboard was obviously there first. And these other two items don't have, seem to have real relationship to anything. So, this would be a bigger project, but it's like, could all of those items be reconsidered and maybe repositioned to benefit all of them? And I think you were sort of leading to that before, Jeff, when you were talking about positioning the signboard to relate to those two.
Right.
If I may, I think that it's a signboard, so it needs to be near the corner.
Right.
It would look out of place if it gets too far away from the corners, because it's supposed to be viewed from the two different roads.
I
It's
agree.
actually supposed to direct people.
Yep.
Right.
So moving it away from the corner is a little problematic.
But maybe, I don't know if it's,
Putting it in a building's a little problematic too, then.
what'd you say?
Then putting it inside of a building would be problematic in your mind.
But I was going to say, those two memorials, can they be relocated somehow to, say, relate to the signboard? Signboard, and I agree. Well, the signboard was there first, right? The other two items were after.
I believe the white wooden ones
Mhm,
are, you know, there used to just be one and two were added about 10 years ago
mhm.
on either side. So that, you know, now, and I think they're all in cement at this point. I mean, moving them, I guess you can still move them. It's like moving a swing set, but it's not going to be simple.
Right. And then the other memorial, which is just, look, I'll say behind the signboard. Is that
The-
the one you said was
The
from? World War II?
millstone, I
Yes.
think that's a memorial. I think that's World War One, but I have to go look at
World
it.
War I.
Sure.
Okay.
And it looks like it's in concrete, so that'd be another
Mhm.
crane
Yeah, it
issue.
seems like the other memorials would be, it doesn't matter where they're positioned.
Right.
They don't have to be in the corner or near the road where the signpost would be best on the corner.
I agree.
Well, there's other committees, the memorial committee you can talk to about any ideas about moving them. We have another group to talk to.
Okay.
All right.
We got our homework.
Okay, so hopefully that was a useful discussion.
FYI, I priced the glass in 1/2 inch tempered, and it's only 3,600. Scaled back a little bit because I think the different structure doesn't have to be the same size.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So should we move
Lots
on?
of good ideas.
Thanks for hearing us out, and we'll get back at you.
Okay,
Thank you for your
Thank you.
feedback.
thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Good night. Okay, so I will touch base with Russ to see about coming up with a materials list for the dam keeper's shed roof.
Russ, I think he's talking about a different Russ.
Yeah.
Okay, I assume so, yeah. I'm leaving, goodbye.
Okay.
And then, Jeff, I realized that I don't think the slate roofer has been to the MN Spear Library. You know, he came out, it's been months ago.
Yeah, wasn't it springtime?
Yeah, you know, and he said, you know,
What
he'd work us in.
It's been so long. What did he, how did you guys leave that?
Well, you know, I met him the day he came out. He went up in the attic with me and we talked about the roof leak, the leak along the ridge, and the leaking around the chimney. And he thinks needs to put sealer on the chimney and then reseal the ridge, you know, check that and essentially locate the roof leak and fix that. But, you know, first thing he said was, you know, this is a really good slate roof and there's nothing wrong with the roof. There's just a leak.
Okay, all
So
right.
was
I'll try to
that,
give him a call then.
let me just, because I see if I have
There's some guy in Deerfield. I've got his name someplace. And if I can't find it, Anna knows who he is.
does, but I thought somewhere oh, I know. Hang on a sec. Mitch Hawkins, does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. Well, I have his number. Yeah, and I have notes here that I got that name from you. So if you can't find his number,
Okay.
okay. Anybody have anything else?
So the only thing we're gonna do at the dam roof, is it the theory that we're gonna put down sleepers?
Strapping, yeah, strapping right over
Strapping on.
the existing asphalt shingle and then the metal on top of that.
Okay, all right. And are we putting gutters on it?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. And are we just doing the roof?
Yes.
It's been a while. I forget what the side look, the rest of the building looks like.
Well, the paint's
Okay.
peeling. The paint's peeling in places.
Okay,
And there's some isolated rot. You know, the whole building sits directly on the top concrete surface of the dam. And it's almost like they just put, I'll call them grade beams uh, down right on there. And there are some areas where that's rotted some, and the building is settled a little bit. When we do the roof, I can, point that out and we can look at it again.
okay. All right.
I just like to say thank the highway department for everything that they've done down at the elementary school. I think it's
Yes.
looking good.
All those beds look beautiful.
Where'd you get those small rocks that you brought down today?
Oh, you got small rocks. Oh, no.
Don't worry, the preschoolers can't quite pick these up and throw them through a window. Close, but not quite.
Yeah,
We'll be
Titan
safe.
couldn't pick them up.
yeah, not with that. What was that piece of equipment that you used to bring them
The
down?
the loader with the forks.
Yeah, yeah, you need one of those.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Mm.
And as
Hey,
far as,
Becky,
oh, you,
Becky, I got a side question. Does the town have a keying standard that they use for all the different locks in town? Or is each building totally separate?
that's a good question.
Hmm.
I guess they are separate.
Okay. right.
But I don't think, I mean, are you talking about main entry? Because a number of the
Oh.
buildings have these push button locks that appear to have been installed at about the same time on all the buildings, the highway and fire department.
Well, here's what drove. I was looking over the submissions from the library for the new library. And one of the questions that the contractor had was, does the town have a keying structure and a keying or cylinder standard that has to be followed? As an example, at UMass, we have to use a specific WB keyway for all the buildings because it has to be standardized for the different lock shops. Does the town have that same kind of a structure when it comes to the doors and the cylinders in all the doors?
I'm afraid not.
Just
Okay.
like all its residents, the schools are all the buildings are all individuals and get along fine all by themselves.
Okay. Okay.
But right now, I'm the last police chief, Tom Harding, changed the master lock on the front and back door of town hall. And we started using Amherst locksmiths, lockworks. Before that, we'd been using Fuller for decades. Another locksmith. And right now, when I tried a couple months ago, the police chief and I started to reorder keys, and we have not heard back from our locksmith in Amherst. I went down there and couldn't find him.
Does the police chief and fire chief required to have keys to the buildings for security and safety? All the buildings?
Fire chief, I know, has keys to every building. I believe the police department does as well. They usually have them available in the cruisers.
So what Jeff's saying is if you systematically change to a whole new system, it's a lot easier because there'll be like one general master key that can open every single door. And
Right.
then there'll be keys for the librarian, there'll be a keys for the principal, there'll be a keys for the highway superintendent and stuff like that. But there's a master key that is given that will work in every single lock, and it's just one key.
That's really scary.
Well,
I don't think the police chief would like that one bit.
Well, the only people who would have that would
With
be
all-
the police chief and the fire chief. That's what they're for.
Okay, so there could be, but then all what we give out to people don't have that same ability, right?
Right.
No, no, they would be further down the key. It's called like a tree. They would
Okay.
be further down the tree. So their key would not work.
Except for their particular building.
Right.
Okay.
Or even, you could even separate out different spaces inside a building.
Yeah.
Well, that might
Some-
be something to think of in the future, especially if my locksmith doesn't start responding, because this is very bad not to be able to get keys when you need them. And it's very unnerving have the person who makes our keys not respond. But Jeff,
Okay.
both the
Okay.
highway and the fire departments use that they don't have physical keys at all. They have a code that they can change.
Okay, all right. Yeah, this will
But
be
if you think
interesting.
this is something the town should consider, we should pursue it.
Well, I was just thinking first in terms of the library, because we're gonna have to resolve this to give the contractor some guidance. But then we may want to think about this for the rest of the town buildings
Yeah.
in the future. Yeah,
Because right now,
So-
the fire department's ring it's about the size of a pie plate, a dish
right.
plate.
And if
It's-
you
And
read,
yeah.
in an
And this would-
emergency, that wouldn't be, a good idea if
Right.
the
Right.
fire chief and the assistant chief have a key. There's a hierarchy of this, and they need it for emergencies, and
right,
it's not shared. And those keys also can't be borrowed and brought down to a local locksmith and say, "Hey, I need 10 of these."
right, they can't be duplicated.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
thank you.
I think it sounds like a good idea if we,
mhm.
and it really at this point would be the school, the town hall, library. Unless we change from the push button, we'd have to change the highway and the
Mhm.
fire department.
Okay,
That would be bad because we've got all different vendors that come and go that use the keypad to get in. I don't think we'd want to give them all keys.
No.
No, you
Although I
couldn't.
guess that's not any different than having the code.
Right.
No, but you can change the code. And changing locks is a lot more work. I think that's how we ended up with this in the first place.
okay.
Anybody have anything else? Go, Becky.
At the last review of the school, Jeff went over the list of documents that we need to close out the school project.
The painting project.
The painting project, the painting and trim work. So we need a couple of schedules from them, and I need a final bill from them. I did receive one, but they had some problems in one of their columns that they are correcting. And I also need all the prevailing wage reports. And I emailed the list on Monday or Friday, must have been Friday, to Rick Escobar, and he said he would get those to me as soon as possible. He's working on them.
Okay. So then, is it your intention, once they fix their payment request, to cut them another check holding back retainage until they get the paperwork?
If I get the invoice ahead of other items, yes.
Okay.
But if he can give me everything at once and I'm considered, if I have everything else, I'll pay the remaining balance.
Okay.
Without the retainage.
Okay.
Sounds good. Anybody else? Do I hear a motion that we close the meeting?
I motion we close the meeting.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call. McGinn,
Aye.
Quackenbush,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Delmas, aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you,
Oh.
everyone.
how about next meeting in a month?
I like
Okay.
that.
Yep.
You too. Okay.
Okay.
See
Okay.
everyone in a month.
Okay. Thank you.
Night.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.